Imagine being a being that got removed from your mother's womb. Yeah, like yikes, that's graphic. Nearly lifeless. Put in something to get you ready for slave breeding among the Shi'ar at the time. They aged them up in weeks because they required many slaves, but ended up escaping and joined up with the X-Men and etc. Some mutants are just built different. Vulcan, for example, aka Gabriel Summers, youngest son of Christopher and Catherine Summers, Gabriel was born prematurely after his parents had been captured by the intergalactic Shi'ar Empire. An emperor literally ripped him from his dying mother's womb. Placed in an incubation accelerator, Gabriel was aged to adolescence in months and was forced to live as a Shi'ar slave. Sent to Earth to work at the hidden base of Shi'ar Agent Divine, he was carried by the elderly woman. She gave him a book on Roman mythology, which later inspired him to adopt his new name, Vulcan. When his mutant nature manifested, he accidentally killed and fled the base. And you can see more about him here. You already know. He got powers. He's a mutant. He's one of those energy manipulator type characters. Look at his energy projection on the chart. It says Vulcan can manipulate all forms of energy, including light, heat, electricity for various purposes, including concussive force blasts, warping or disabling energy fields, detecting and tracking energy sources in flight. Vulcan can also transform his voice into pure energy and transmit it through communication sources. After losing his left eye, it was replaced with a Shi'ar synthetic one while bonded with Darwin, being that can adapt really good. I've mentioned him before in my past videos. Vulcan could access remnants of Petra's geomorphic power and sway time manipulating ability that Darwin had earlier absorbed. But how strong are we talking when it comes to this character? You're probably wondering why we don't see him in more forms of media. He's kind of like one of those forgotten type characters or X-Men. One could say long lost. Brother of Havoc and Cyclops. Beings I have videos about on the channel already. Emma Frost even labeled him off of the charts when he was entering, talking about Omega level, something you often hear comics say, Omega level, Alpha level. His abilities were elevated to Omega level. There was a point where he didn't remember his training, and there was another point where he remembers his training with Professor Xavier. His senses reach out through the blackness around him, searching, and stuff like that. Respect Vulcan. Since he's one of those energy manipulator type characters, you can be stronger than him and he still has a chance to beat you because of a hacks like being able to drain your energy. The fact that Emma's a psionic being and she still got knocked out from something like this when she was using cerebral feedback just from sensing a type of character like this, it lets you know how much of a threat he is. There's different examples of him actually draining beings of their energy, can shield himself from other powerful energy manipulators like Havoc. Energy allows him to reignite neurons in brains and stuff of that such, to bring folks back from comas and such, can shut off currents in brains and such. While young and still in training, block multiple energy blasts from multiple different directions, showing multitasking skills at the same time. Even as a kid, can redirect Cyclops' optic blast and shoot it back at you. He's one of those characters that don't need super strength because the main thing that makes him a threat is his energy projection, so he has a lot of blast power. Look at the large beams he can produce. He can shield himself from Polaris' magnetic pulse, and he can also knock out beings by amping himself up with his own energy, like an energy punch, one could say. Oh man, it gets brutal. I'm talking about complete incineration type blast power. And it's not a one-time thing. Incineration is a normal thing. He can do some dark side Omega beam type stuff to where his beams can actually curve and make sharp turns to where it makes his blast almost impossible to avoid. He prefers to use energy from his hands, but he can blast it from his eyes as well. Can control multiple beams of energy, even if some of the energy is over here, and etc. Different types of attacks, like some kind of wall energy attack here. He's a threat because he can just literally destroy a Shi'ar star, ship. Plot, he can produce lightning bolt looking type of attacks. I mean, he's an energy manipulator. I wouldn't doubt it. Not to mention he can knock out Wolverine. His power is so potent and dangerous. Even when it was his first time using his abilities, he accidentally incinerated a being. This is kind of what I told you about earlier when I'm talking about his origin. It was the elderly woman I mentioned that cared for him. She gave him a book of Roman mythology, which later inspired him and stuff. That same lady. But when his power manifested, it accidentally killed her and stuff. That's what I mentioned earlier. That's technically this moment. There's heavy implications when it comes to his raw speed. He can travel massively faster than the speed of light, because you have to be able to travel in space and get any distance, really. Speaking of energies, one could say a form of energy manipulation could be psychic energy, right? Because he can kind of do telepathic type stuff like reading minds and stuff, go in your head and bust you up from the inside out, then telekinetically pick you up and throw you away. And he can even go in characters like Cyclops' head and suppress their power. They can't just blast him to oblivion. You can suppress Rachel's telepathy. Other psionic beings like Rachel have a hard time getting a lock on his mind. Notice how they say the Omega Plus level mutant. This is the scariest thing that's about mind people, making people see things that aren't really there. Stuff like this is totally a horror movie type of power to make you see stuff. Hallucinations to pretty much haunt you and mess you up in your psyche. Making people see dead loved ones and stuff. Makes Rachel see a dead Jean Grey and stuff. But to really get a good idea of how strong he is based on his fights with the heaviest hitters of Marvel. Of course, as a mutant type character, you know they're going to have to have him face off against a Sentinel one way or another, overpowering Sentinels. Of course he can, right? He's an energy manipulator, so he can kind of enhance everything with his energy manipulation, like enhancing his durability with baby microscopic shields you might not necessarily see up, energy projection around his body, and that's the reason why you see him fight the X-Men. And it's not an easy fight. When he fights them, even deflecting blasts, hits from Colossus, thanks to his energy projection, getting sliced by Wolverine, stuff of that such. He just has a lot of defenses. Even though the X-Men is one of the most versatile teams, he still can fight him off a bit. For example, here he restrains Professor X, blasts Wolverine away. It shows his blast power to be able to do area of effect and knock multiple X-Men out of the way. And when it comes to him taking on Shi'ar ships, of course he can blast through them and fly through them, soloing thanks to his energy manipulation. Like, yeah, they're getting messed up. Part of me kind of feels bad for him a little bit because they're getting annihilated. When it comes to power, you see these missiles he can blast away with ease, despite the speed. You see he just flies through stuff. It's not nothing they can do. They just literally get blitzed all around, showing his fighting speed, maneuvering past the stuff, blasting it while he's maneuvering past it. It's just so easy. At this point, you Shi'ar people shouldn't even mess with him. He messes you up your Imperial Guard. Y'all all getting messed up even though y'all teaming up on him. Energy manipulation just seems to be too freaking good. When y'all think y'all got the upper hand, y'all really don't have the upper hand. Is not what you think. Even multiple area of effect type of blast shielding. Notice that freaking Herculean level beings like Gladiator are here. And despite him being here, he's not going down without a fight. It kind of lets you know that the writers kind of want him to be in them powerhouse ranges at the very least. Look how he blasted him back here, Mr. Gladiator. Even being struck in the face by Gladiator straight up just doesn't end him instantly, as strong as Gladiator is. But yeah, he did go night-night, but it took a lot. A being I have a video about on the channel known as Adam Warlock. He proves his power by literally being a challenge for Mr. Adam Warlock, a dude that's confirmed to be a powerhouse of powerhouses. And that's not even up for debate. Look how many panels this goes for to show how much of a threat Vulcan really freaking is. And if you guys do me a favor and really check out the video by Adam Warlock, you know that this is not a feat that should be disrespected. Beings that are powerhouses even say that Vulcan is terrifyingly strong. He's an Omega level mutant. Like, I can let the panels right here speak for themselves when it comes to Vulcan. I will admit, I can't stand it when moments like this happen, fights like this didn't even get finished because Adam Warlock and him like kind of didn't really get to finish their fight, but it was kind of implied that he would have been a tough challenge for even Adam Warlock. And then the ultimate proof is somebody that's definitely a powerhouse, is somebody like Black Bolt. We actually get to see Vulcan fight a being this powerful. Black Bolt himself, you can see both of them radiating energy. You can see the fight is definitely high difficulty. See them clashing blows. One can make an argument that Black Bolt wasn't really going all the way out because he didn't just freaking scream off gate, because even Vulcan asked, is there something here that you're afraid of damaging? Why are you not using that famous voice on him? He even asked. You can see the battle even more. This fight is just kind of beastly to watch panel for panel. Just to see an all-out slugfest that I would love to totally see animated. But just when all was lost, apparently, Black Bolt had to pull out his trump card. He freaking screamed. And this bomb was getting ready, thanks to these conditions. Oh yeah, by the way, Vulcan got messed up, but he's still conscious, by the way. After that freaking scream, and the explosion was magnificent. The thing that Black Bolt was trying not to have to deal with. He's one of those characters that can manipulate magic, even though that's a very exotic form of energy. He can still manipulate it and use it against you. So yeah, if your main form of attack is energy manipulation, this guy's gonna be tough for you to beat, bro. He even stated that his war threatens the very fabric of space and time, can rip creation apart at the seams. I'm talking about the fate of the universe. And this dude responds with, I am the universe. Imagine being so powerful when it comes to energy manipulation to where you're grieving and you make energy constructs of beings that are actually dead. It's like your subconscious creates something like this for you. So even though Vulcan had it rough, yeah, he's very powerful energy manipulator, probably one of some of the best of the best. What do you think about him and the Silver Surfer's energy manipulation abilities? Which character do you think has better energy manipulation? I've showed you in this video a lot with him. The same Gladiator that's strong enough to wrestle planets from their orbits and collapse stars with his bare hands. The same guy that can just pull up on a planet and shatter it. We already know how strong this guy is with his voice, damage Gladiator, Thor level beings. And we already know how strong Adam Warlock from the video on my channel. And we've seen this guy battle all these beings in pretty high difficulty fights. And they're not just skirmishes like this when the powerhouses be fighting like lower tiers and stuff. That's just like little scuffles. But when Vulcan was fighting these powerhouses, it wasn't just like a little baby scuffle. It was pretty high difficulty in every single occasion. It wasn't just a scuffle on none of these occasions. So his battle feats actually have more weight when you consider the context on how hard they was fighting. But that's just about going to do it, everybody. Yeah, it's true. He doesn't have the most appearances to showcase himself, but the appearances he does have, he pretty much showed off what he can really do. You got to respect him regardless of how you look at it. But how strong do you think he is? You think he's up there with the Hulk and Thor level beings, or you think he's below, or do you even think he's high? It depends on how you look at it. They do throw around the term Omega level a lot with him. But respect Vulcan. But I also got to give a shout out to those that donate to the channel. Helps out a lot. Respect Vulcan. Thank you guys. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.